Welcome to the Buddy and Shane Show. Brought to you by AIA Australia, a life, health and wellbeing insurer with a commitment to help Australians lead healthier, longer, better lives.
Hello and welcome to the Buddy and Shane Show, coming to you from the beautiful Gold Coast. Another great weekend of footy and someone who's just fresh in from a run. Have you just come from a run?
Mate, I don't think we talk about me. Let's talk about you and your
hang
injury.
on.
It's good to see you're back and healthy. Can you explain to?
You are up and about early.
I went for my run, but let's
covering
get
the
to you.
case.
Let's
Did
get
you feel
to you.
good today? Was it a
I
feel
felt
good
good
run?
I felt good, but how are you, Shane?
How am I? I'm not bad. No, actually, I'm not very good. I smashed my collarbone on Monday
How?
playing football. Playing football. You know, I've been trying to drag you down on a Monday night to come and have a run with the Casarina Clangers, all the old farts, which I'm very much part of. We do a training run. We do some lane work and some triangle goal kicking, and then we play a game. And
Well, I heard it wasn't even on the cards to play. You just were riding past.
it's a non-contact game,
Yep.
so everyone just, once the ball hits the ground, we turn over, give the other, whoever's on the other team, the ball. So, yes, it's bruise-free footy. I was on a secret mission to head overseas, which I can't talk about, but and I was heading off virtually the next day. So I did a big training session, feeling good about myself, before you get on a plane.
Yep.
And I thought, I'll go and have a kick with the boys, because I like doing that. I enjoy having a kick 6 o'clock every Monday night.
Yep.
Not that I go every Monday, only when the conditions are great, which is a lot of the time. So, yes, and we had a couple of new players who moved to town and wanted to participate in I suppose it's like a moving men's shed.
Let's get to it. Come on, mate. So what happened?
So
Tell us what happened. Come on.
I ran hard from half back all the way down into the forward line. I did a big hard hook lead,
Yep.
Lance Franklin style,
Yep.
even though I had no one on me. And the ball was kicked in my direction from one side of the boundary. And yes, the new inductee, who's from South Africa, who's only got one kidney and is not allowed to do any contact, he ran from a different direction and we smashed into each other, obviously not seeing each other.
Jeez.
So we're running in different directions. I wiped him out. He was knocked out. Not good for his kidney. And my shoulder went through my neck and it's not good. So I jumped in the car straight to emergency and said, I'm not good. And yes, so I've done my collarbone.
How?
Not good.
Not good.
Never done a collarbone. And
Not good.
But the good thing is I'm here. I've turned up.
That's it. That's the most important thing.
I have
And
had
you
a lot of
haven't left me
endo
one
today.
out,
You
which is
do look
great.
like a pink elephant to me, but I'm looking forward to it. So, So anyway, what do? You get on with it, and we're charging on. Now, you were in Melbourne.
I was in Melbourne.
You've been very social lately, haven't
been
you?
great.
Which is unusual for you.
It's been great.
Caught up with your teammates, your old teammates.
Yeah, we went down to what they had 13, 14, 15 premierships. Obviously, being a part of the 13 group, they had we had a celebration of that night on Friday, and then we went out to the club on Saturday. A lot of the past players brought other kids out, and they had a little kids clinic out at Waverley for the families.
Yeah.
Had some lunch out there, and then all the boys and their partners caught up after, which was great.
I did see a photo of Rocky,
Rocky was loving
who's
it.
your little boy, and he's going to be a champion.
Tallulah got no interest at all.
That's
Absolutely
all right.
no
But
interest.
I'll tell you what, Rocky's got a bit of go on him, so I reckon father, son,
Absolutely,
sign him
Shane.
up. Hey, talking about kids,
Yes.
I found out that you're having a baby.
Oh, wow. Yes, number 3.
Only because your wife told me.
Yeah.
But congratulations.
Thanks, Shane. We're over the moon.
Yeah.
Having a third is exciting. We're absolutely pumped, so can't wait.
Wow, it's going to be a handful. So the good thing is I don't work much, so I can actually
You
do a bit
can
of
be the
babysitting.
nanny, mate. You can
I
help
could,
out. That'd be
yeah,
great.
I could. It's probably the only time I get invited to your house.
Well, besides when you painted the fence, that was good.
Oh, I did paint the fence,
Thanks, mate.
and my
We'll
son
get you
Ben
back over for that. Probably due.
painted. He had the roller on the fence right next to your beautiful sandstone wall, and he
what
didn't
happened?
realise the top of it was rolling a sandstone wall,
All over the house.
and it was a hot day, and it dried so quick, and so we sent him to the outside fence and said, mate,
You were fuming at him too.
appreciate you being here, but you've painted this beautiful sandstone wall black,
I'll invoice you later, Shane.
and I think it's still there. Anyway, so congratulations. Baby names? Do you know what you're having, a boy or a girl?
We're not sure. So it's a.
I think I know.
What are you thinking?
I think you're having a boy because, you know, there's a little bit of morning sickness, which is always, I think, associated with
Wow.
boys.
Not sure.
Would you like some names?
You come up with a name. Come
Freddie. Freddie
on.
Franklin.
Freddie Franklin.
You like that?
It's quite nice.
It's got a nice little flow.
Or Sean. Or Shaney.
Shane, a real traditional Australian name, bogan name. All right, let's get on with it.
Barry.
Barry's good.
Yeah, I like that.
That's my middle name.
Yeah, that's what we
Shane.
call you, Barry.
Barry Crawford.
The Buddy and Barry show. That's what we're going to call it. Won't we?
Barry Hall, he lives up near the Gold Coast. He's around here somewhere.
Let's get into this, mate. Come on.
Okay. The Suns. You were right.
Are we
about
going
the
there
Suns.
already, are we?
No, actually, let's go Carlton.
Yeah, let's
We're
go
going to go
Carlton.
straight to Carlton
Yeah.
because we need to address what's going on there. They lost to North Melbourne, 13-point victory to the Kangaroos. But can I just say, we've been doing some tips on a Thursday. They go out. You'd be crazy not to tune into that because Lance Franklin has been on absolute fire. We've been saying our certainty. Last 2 weeks, it was the Giants against Brisbane, up in Brisbane. Huge outsiders. But he said this is why they'll win. They won. And then following up the next week, North Melbourne will win. They'll beat Carlton. That is my certainty. And I said, you're losing the plot, even though I agreed with you that North Melbourne could win. And it's happened again. So you are absolutely on fire when it comes to, especially an outsider, and they're they're putting your head on the chopping block. You've been airborne. How on earth did you know that was going to happen? North Melbourne were outstanding.
I think with the North, if you look at their last 6 weeks, pretty impressive. They probably should have won 4 or 5 more games than what they had. They've been pretty unlucky. But I thought the big ground really suits that young team. They can all run. They're all top 10 picks. They've got a great list. They've been playing really well. And I think Clarko's coaching very, very well at the moment. And I haven't been impressed with Blues at all. They've been really, really disappointing. I think they've been terrible. They've been absolutely terrible. And I think there's going to be some big question marks on Vossi and whether he probably holds his job. That's what I'd be looking at because something needs to change at that club, whether it's Vossi moving on, whether they trade out some players. There's something going on internally. I'm not sure. I can't put my finger on it, but only the players will be able to tell you that.
Okay, so Curnow turns up on his bike looking like a postie to the MCG or like he's done the paper rounds, you know. Did you ever ride a bike to a game of footy?
Absolutely not.
No.
No,
It's a little unusual.
it is.
But then again,
Where did he ride from? Torquay or something?
he had a fire pit the night before and then decided he'd head down the highway. Obviously had a calf injury. They took him off last week and then he played and he got smashed by Toby Pink. So, you know, he's a wonderful player, Curnow. I love watching him. But there's no doubt he wasn't right.
Yeah.
So there's something happening there. And to be rocking up on a bike to a game
With the calf.
with a bit of a calf, I'm sure it's not a great look. I want to talk about Adam Sard. So he did an interview during the week with Hamish McLaughlin on his show on Channel 7. I don't know the name of the show, but I'm sure it's a great show. You can also find the House of Wellness, 8:30 on a Friday night.
Little plug.
And so Hamish asked the question, when you take off, have you got any idea where you're about to go? And the answer from Adam Sard was no. It's just give me the footy and I'll make it up. That's a disaster. And you know more than anyone, for the players down the field, when you've got halfbacks just wanting the football, then they're zigging and zagging, they're ducking and diving, it throws everyone out of whack down the field because you are not predictable and it throws the forwards way out of position, and then they have to readjust. Surely that is not the game plan. Give Adam Saad the ball and we'll make it up as we go. You need to have a solid, strong plan, and you need to be predictable to your teammates. I was disgusted with that answer. What do you say about that? As a forward, when you've got guys pinging off half back and you're trying to time your lead, how can you possibly get that right?
Well, I think that's just one thing, but I think it's the whole list in general. I don't think anyone knows exactly what they're doing at the moment.
And by the way, I love Adam Saad, you know.
But I think that's always been his. That's the way he plays his footy. But I think everyone they're all not on the same page. There's no doubt about that. Is the messaging getting through? Probably not. I'm not sure. Everyone doesn't seem to be on the same page. Like to lose to obviously we can't take credit away from North Melbourne. They've been tremendous these last few weeks, but that's a game Carlton need to be winning, and they'll be extremely disappointed with that. And you know, with that loss comes a lot of question marks, and I think they'll be looking. Obviously, the board will be looking. Is Voss the right coach for this job? And I think there'll be some big question marks and chats going on internally, because as all the Carlton supporters out there that will be absolutely disappointed. They go from a prelim a few years ago to what are they, 9th or 10th now. They should, with that team and the guns they've got in that team, they should be playing finals. So
they made the finals last year and they pretty much didn't turn up, you know. So you can try and make finals, but then you got to actually try and win finals and show what you're capable of. This year, everyone was expecting them to be definitely top 8, top 4. Some were saying that, you know, this is their year to really show us what they got. Their skill level's not at the level that it needs to be. This has been consistent throughout the year. You know, last year, if they didn't have Paddy Cripps playing, they would have lost a lot more games. He carried that club for quarters and moments, which you just can't do. So they need to find more midfielders that can share the load. Running, I don't think they have the run, definitely don't have the skill level as some of the other sides, but the running capacity both ways.
So what are you putting it down to?
So I'm saying there's a lot of flaws which...
Coaching, are you putting it down to coaching or what they've got on their list? Because
when you coach an AFL team these days, you get a license to coach for 5 years. It's not how it used to be. Back in my day, coaches would last a year and they'd be moved on. And, you know, that's always a bit harsh because you need time to develop your list. But Michael Voss came in when the team had been through the downs and it was on the way up. Okay, so now this is his team. This is where he's been able to sort of place the magnets. And I think from when you look at an analytic point of view, probably doesn't shuffle the magnets enough. And maybe there's players just not necessarily in the right positions, because even the wingers at times can slaughter the football, whereas you need wingers at the very best teams. You go to Collingwood, they decided to put a Steele Sidebottom on a wing or a Josh Dacos. Hey, do they slaughter the footy? No way. They are unbelievable with their decision-making. And the forwards lick their lips every time they kick the ball inside 50. So, for me, it's a big worry. I know Gavin Brown's coming in. Is it Gavin Brown? Yeah. Is he coming in? No.
I'm going to put this out there, Crawf. I think... This is a big call. I don't think he sees out the year. I think they've, as you said, I think they've got a pretty good list. I do. I think that it's a big issue is the messaging is not getting through to the players, and I think there needs to be change. And we've said it before. We're all about the players and coaches, but I think this is a change that needs to happen, and I think it needs to happen ASAP because the messaging is not getting through, and all the Carlton supporters would probably say the same. I'm probably speaking on behalf of them. I reckon there needs to be a change, and it'll probably happen in the next few weeks is my tip.
Okay.
It's a big call. It's a big call, but that's what I think will happen.
It's harsh, but you've had an opportunity. Things haven't worked for one reason or the other. You know, maybe some personnel needs to change. They do need some decision makers and some run with real skill level. I'm trying to... Graham Wright's coming in.
Yes, Graham Wright's coming.
Graham Wright's coming in. Graham Wright's had great success Hawthorn obviously went to Collingwood, helped with the decision for the coaches and developed the list. So you cannot get a better person.
And he's not scared to make big decisions. He moved on Grundy from Collingwood. So these are the big decisions that will be left to him, and I'm sure that they'll be made in the next few weeks, you'll think.
Okay, there you go. Anyway, it'll be an interesting week. They've got a short turnaround because they're playing Port Adelaide, which is probably perfect for them because, you know what, when things – and you know you're capable of playing some really good football. Port Adelaide have been so inconsistent, so up and down. And then you've got Carlton who want to – the best way to silence everyone is win. Just go and win. So it's a quick turnaround, which is perfect for them just to get on with it and show what they're made of, show a bit of fight, hit a few targets. And, you know, a week is a long time in footy, but you can quickly move on if you get a W next to your name. Let's talk about North Melbourne. Let's give them a bit of love. So the young midfield's up and about. They had a good couple of weeks over in Perth, even though they didn't beat Fremantle. They pushed Fremantle. It seems as though the tide's starting to turn. Their forward line's functioning well. Your mate Parker, he's come in and
Really
been
stepped
tough
up,
around the
hasn't
footy, which is one thing that you were hoping he would do. And it seems as though they're on the right track now after an inconsistent first half.
I think they're going to be, in the next 2-3 years, they're going to be unstoppable. They are going to be a force.
Unstoppable.
That's absolutely unstoppable. The kids they've got coming through, they're all top 10 picks. They've been very lucky. Obviously, they've been down the bottom for a long time, so they've had access to those early picks, but they're going to be incredible. They're going to be absolutely unstoppable in 2 or 3 years, Crawf. And as you said before, Parksy, incredible. Like to be, I think that's what they needed. They needed a senior sort of figurehead in that midfield to really show them how to go about it a little bit. He brings that leadership on and off the field. He's really stepped up the last couple of weeks, and I think he had another 28 touches, which was a great game. And good to see him win, mate. Good to see him win.
The Gold Coast Suns, my team, going to make the finals. It's all good. They are now out of the 8. They lost to the Giants. They were very good for a long time of the game. Amazing early. Their midfield was unbelievable. But as predicted by Nostradamus, he said their underbelly's a bit wobbly and, you know, they've got a bit of work to do. The Giants were great.
Giants are good.
8 goals in the last quarter.
Form team of the comp.
Jake Stringer, super sub, comes on, kicks 2, has a huge impact. That's what he can do. He can play in the middle if you need him. Green was Tom Green, that is, just destroyed them after quarter time. So where to for the Suns? Can they still make the finals? I still think they can. I think they'll bounce back this week. And then the Giants. The Giants.
I've said it.
Quarters like they did in that last quarter.
Well, kicked 8 goals in the last quarter. I think that, for me, was a big red flag. I'm like, you can't be getting 8 goals kicked on you in the last quarter and then just run over the top of you. I think they'll be really disappointed with that Gold Coast, considering, like, obviously GWS are the informed team of the comp, especially the last couple of weeks, but Gold Coast will be disappointed that they got 8 goals and sort of got run over the top of. I think Stringer was, come on, that's why they got him to the club, kicked 2 goals late, the match winner. But, yeah, I'm not sure. As I said with Gold Coast, I've got some big question marks on them still, and I think that's been the biggest thing for me. You said 10 weeks ago when they were flying and winning and that, you said that they'll play finals. I don't think they will. I don't think they will. I think, for me, you've got to go to Melbourne. You have to go to Melbourne. I think at Gold Coast Stadium, they win. They win. They play well. They play well every time at Gold Coast. But for me, it's interstate travel. They're yet to. I don't know what.
How can they play so well early in this game, looking like a side that's not only going to win the match, this is a side that's going to win a premiership?
I think.
Is it because you put so much effort into winning the footy and harassing when you don't have the footy? Maybe the fitness level wasn't there. I don't know. It's very hard to maintain that focus for a whole match. But, yeah, this was a match they virtually had in their hands. They had in their hands. 3/4 time, we got the job done. You beauty. Let's go home and focus on next week. But once again, you were right. You're seeing something that I'm not seeing.
Yeah,
I don't like it.
Yeah, well, I just think it's that consistency. That's the big thing. That's the question mark for me. It's like, yeah, they're good for 2 quarters. They're great at home, but it's that interstate travel. You've got to get it done. And for me, I can't see them going to Melbourne at this stage and consistently go, you know what, they're going to win today. You've got no confidence in it. I think at home, yes, you do, but going to Melbourne and beating a Collingwood or a Geelong in a big final, I can't see that happening. So I don't think they play finals.
Well, the positive from a finals point of view, they missed the game at the start of the year with Essendon. So they've got to play Essendon twice in the run home to the final. So you would think
they're the type of games that they lose. They did it last year.
You would think that would be 8 points and a big percentage booster.
To play finals last year, they had to beat North Melbourne. They couldn't get it done. That's why I've got no confidence. And there's things like that for me. That if you're a Sun supporter, you'd be worried. You'd be worried because they were in the same position last year, same amount of wins, and this is what happens to them. They fall off the perch, and I think that. I reckon Damien would know that too. There'd be some big chats happening internally. They need to get switched on. That's for sure. Because if they do, let's be honest, if they do and they switch on and get that consistency, the way they play at home, and they all buy in, they're a dangerous club. They are. They're dangerous. They've got guns all around the park.
You don't rate them. You say
but
they've
they
got
just
a soft
need to.
underbelly.
That consistency needs to get better, and I think it's a mental challenge for them to be challenging each other internally and go, we need to be better. And I think once they do that, I think they can get better, but I need to see it more.
Well, you're giving the coach a bit of a hard time too, so do you reckon we should sack him as well?
I don't think I'm that harsh on him. I think I'm just telling the reality of the situation. I think that's what it is for Gold Coast.
That's what it is. Fremantle, 41 points over the Bombers, which I think everyone thought that would be the case. It's 5 in a row for the Dockers. Sarong, 35 touches. He kicked a few goals. Luke Jackson, rucked by himself. Yes, he's up against a young ruckman for... Actually, the Bombers are showing a bit with some of their young kids, which I think that's, there's a bit of positive news there. But Jackson was unbelievable. He had 21 touches. He had 48 hit-outs. He kicked 3 goals. He's a pretty scary player when he's in the ruck, but he's not always just in the ruck.
Well, he is. He's follow-up. That's why he's one of the better ruckmans in the competition, because obviously he can sort of get his hand on the ball and tap it, but then he becomes another, like a small midfielder. He gets straight back onto it, either picks up the ground ball or puts a block on for his teammates. But he's playing some really good football. They're just doing what they've got to do. I think they've got a couple more home games at home, Fremantle, so they're looking pretty good. They're looking really good.
And I hope the Bombers, I love that they're playing all these young kids and a lot of key position young kids, and they're all showing a bit, having a crack, and that's all you expect. You just want them to turn up, show a bit of fight. Fremantle, even though they're off a short bracket, you could have thought, there's every chance this might be 100 points, but I thought the Bombers showed a bit of ticker, and I hope they can keep doing that for the rest of the year. Keep playing those young kids, keep giving them some exposure, and really set yourself for next year to have a really healthy full list and see if you can climb your way back up the ladder. Brisbane Lions, 41 points over the Cats. Danger's 350th. As was predicted
on
the podcast that Brisbane would win.
Pumping
by
you
and me.
Today, you are.
I'm pumping myself up as well.
Huge. Absolutely huge. As we said, we tipped it. We thought that I just thought they'd be disappointed. They've lost the last couple, Brisbane, so they had to go down there and really put on a show, and they were able to. Their midfield was sensational. They
love a challenge, don't they?
They love a challenge. Geelong, on the other hand, will be disappointed. I think, with big milestone games, I've seen it in the past, there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of emotion.
Well, you said you lost your 350th?
We lost my 350th, so I know exactly that feeling. But there's a lot of emotion around. Obviously, your family's all involved, a lot of family members, a lot of talking. You can go into the game by the time it starts exhausted. And I think that's what happened with the Cats on the weekend. I think they were all a little bit
They looked
flat.
lethargic, yeah.
But
maybe they were too busy putting out the white T-shirts on all the seats.
I thought it looked all right.
Well, there's nothing wrong with the look, but I'm like, it took the energy out of the team, whether or not they played the game too much or overthought what they were going to do. But, Danger, I was waiting for him to just take the game by the scruff of the neck. Jeremy Cameron, all I'll say about him is, even though he was, first half so-so, look out. He's running red hot. You know, he still had a huge impact in the second half. And Logan Morris, another key forward that a lot of clubs chose not to take early in the draft.
Yep.
Why would you take a key forward?
Kicked another 5.
That's right. Last year he was very good.
Yep.
This year he's taken it to the next level, getting more time, obviously, with Danaher out of the team. He looks like a special player.
Well, I think if they're going to win a grand final, he really needs to continue to play like this. I think that's been, for me, the little question mark with Brisbane is that tall forward line with Danaher not there. But I think for them to go into a grand final, deep into finals, he just needs to continue to keep growing, obviously hitting the scoreboard and just give him a nice focal point up forward. But, he's been great this year, so well done to him.
And because when you play Geelong at home, you got to be really good at your contested footy and the shape of the oval, you know, the boundaries come in a touch more. But I love the way that Brisbane use their forward line and use the pockets and use the whole sort of forward line rather than sort of just going, to the hot spots and to the square. So I love the way that they did that, and they scored a lot of goals and had a lot of shots on goal by doing that and really stretching the Geelong defence. Your team's back, the Sydney Swans, look out. They might make a run. Surely they're not going to make the finals, but 19-point victory over Port Adelaide. Port Adelaide, you just don't know what you're going to get each week. No. Heaney was on fire.
Yep.
And, had another huge game. Papali comes back in. Goulden comes back in. They weren't their best players, but just having that experience and those ball users and that energy, they look like a different team.
It did. That looked like Sydney last year, didn't it? That looked like them at their best. Mm-hmm. I think it was good to see. All the Sydney supporters will be very happy that they've got their great players back. It's good to see Errol get back from injury. It just shows you how professional this young guy is to come back and have impact straight away. So well done to Errol. Good to see Paps back. Play really well too. Big Joel. What did he have? I think he kicked 7 points. So we've all been there, mate. But just keep practicing your goal kicking, big fella.
Yeah,
but
you're not doing enough practicing.
I don't know. I might have to come back down there, mate. But yes, he'd be disappointed with that. He had a few give-me's from the pretty much 20, 30 metres out. So, the good teams will make you pay if you continually miss those, or you've got to take your opportunities against a good team. So I'm sure there'll be a little bit of work going on at the club. I will say, Millsy, good to see him playing half back this week. I think that's probably the position the club needs him to play. I think that's when he's at his absolute best. I think the midfield, we're pretty stacked there at the moment. I think Millsy, that move for him being half back's really good. He had one of his best games for the year, so that was great to see too. And what else, Crawf?
Heaney lined up against Miles Bergman, who's a very good player. I like him. I'd love him at Hawthorn, but you see in the media how Heaney did an interview saying how he found out that he was a bit sick virtually at the start of the game, and then today he probably wouldn't be at his very best. I just can't believe that. That's a massive advantage to know that your opponent, who's meant to be running around and probably tagging you or trying to take you out of the game, he hasn't had a good week or he's not feeling great. Why on earth would you give an advantage to your teammate, to the opposition, especially someone who is going to follow you all day? Why would you do that? Did you ever do that?
Oh, no.
Did you ever say, I'm not feeling good today? There's no way you fake it. Even when you're
weird.
hurting.
It's very strange.
Even when you're catching some wind after you've run from one end to the other, you don't want to put your hands on your knees or your hands on your lap and go, I need to suck it in. You're trying to fake it. That, no, I'm feeling okay, just to get that mental edge. Why would you give someone a mental edge? Are we too nice?
I think Bergman would be pretty flat that Heaney went and told the media, though. It's probably something that just stays on the ground.
Are we too nice these days as players, as opposition players when we come up against each other? We help people up off the ground.
Shaking hands before games,
we
which is
have
whatever,
a nice
if that works for you. But
during the game, all of that stuff. Are we too nice?
Oh.
Where's that hatred and that white line fever?
Well, I think all the best teams have it. All the best teams have that competitive instinct and that want and will and drive to get it done. But for me, that would not be my goal. I wouldn't be telling the opposition that kind of stuff. I'd be keeping it to myself and just getting on with it. But And now the pressure comes on him too, because then the media find out about it, which is not ideal for him. But that was a disappointing loss, wasn't it, for him, Crawf? Port Adelaide, they've had a shocking year.
The good thing is they get to play Carlton Thursday night. Not that they're going to win that match.
And they're going to bounce back, and they'll bounce back.
Fight. Collingwood, 34 over the Saints. The Saints are quite good. But Collingwood, geez, they're a great team when they really put their foot down. Josh and Nick Dacos had 30 plus. Windhager went to Nick Dacos.
Yep.
I like him as a player, Windhagen, because he does the job. You know, he'll just stick at his task. Everyone's saying, you know, he went overboard with kneeing in the back of a hamstring, a little punch to the face, all that stuff. But, you know, if he was playing for my team, I'd be pumped about the way he goes about it. Not the kneeing of the hamstring, but I don't think there was a great deal to it. But I love the way that he sticks at his task, and I love the way that Collingwood stood up for Nick Dacos, helped him out as much as they could, and I love the way that Nick Dacos just worked through it and said, you know what, you can come with me all day, no worries. I'm just going to keep running and keep applying myself, and he was great. And
celebrated too. You very rarely see him get over the top of these celebrations and then kick that goal and really celebrated Nick. That was good to see. But, you know, I think that's part of Nick's journey, isn't it? That to be able to work through. Like, there'd been opposition in the last few weeks that have really sat on him and tested him. I think this is a real challenge for him this next period, because all the good teams, or most teams, are going to sit on him now and really be physical with him. And you can speak of that, Crawf, because obviously you've been through that as a player, where especially midfielders, you're able to run and become a really good player. You've had tags, you know, it's a mental challenge, isn't it?
I played, like St Kilda are really good at it, blocking space, but there was a player called James Blake, and he was like a big ruckman, but he would do a run with roll. He had a really big engine, and he followed me everywhere. I just couldn't get away from him. And then when I'd actually get into space, they would block space, so I just couldn't get on the end of it. St Kilda had took us to task one day at Etihad. Anyway, so you're not feeling good. We didn't win. I couldn't get into the game. You know, I just couldn't get any space, thinking, oh, my God, he did a good job. And then I'm driving home. I pulled up at St Kilda at the lights, turn over the car next to me. It was him. No, seriously.
Tagging you in cars.
And I just shook my head. I said, oh, you can't be following me all the way home. But that's true.
It is a challenge for him, though, isn't it? Because this is what's going to be coming for him. It's how do you work through that? Obviously, maybe 2v1s around stoppage, blocking for your teammates, thinking not about yourself. I think that's a big way you get out of it. Dogs,
Bontempelli, 36 and 3. Best player in the comp. 79 points. Yep. Darcy was great. The only concern is Treloar having a bit of an injury, but how good was Bontempelli? Did you get to see much of Bontempelli? He
was going to be my young star. He looked 18, but mate, I think it was just another reminder of this guy. I think we can sort of you forget, like, he's just an incredible player. What he's doing and what he's done for so long. He's been so consistent. He's been a 6-time All-Australian. He's obviously had his little bit of a challenges this year with injury. But I think it was a reminder that this guy is the number one player in the comp, and I think by a big margin. To do what he did yesterday, his kicking, the kicking for me is what sets him apart from everyone else. He sees where the space is, the forwards are on the same page, kicks it out to their advantage, and then the forward just works his way into it nicely. I don't think many players can do that, and it's incredible to watch. So well done, Bont.
Yeah, and his centre bounce work is amazing. Because he's tall, he wins his own footy, but even under enormous pressure, he's able to manoeuvre his body and his hands just to free them up.
The little tap.
To be able to, and that's one thing I've noticed coming into the game a fair bit is you don't have to necessarily grab the ball all the time. Everyone thinks you need to get it and then offload it. It's just a little push to give you that extra metre when you need it, and then you can grab. And, I think that's one thing a lot of the clubs are focusing on. You don't always have to grab the footy around a contest, but what a wonderful player. So he's played
250 this week, I think it is.
Is it 250?
Yep.
look out.
Yep.
You're going to have another huge game. But
Yep.
so I reckon this year he's played maybe 8 games.
Yep.
He probably wouldn't be All-Australian. Although if he played all year, he'd definitely be All-Australian. If he can play the rest of the season at the level he is, he slots into the All-Australian team.
Yeah.
Which would be almost on track for a record jumper, because I reckon he's had maybe 6.
He's had 6 All-Australians, but
Has he? Or you should know because you look at it.
well, you look at it,
Australians
no
all
one
the
can
time.
do what he's doing. I don't think to that level. I think when he's at his absolute peak and his best, there's no player in the competition can do that. So, and if he's like that in the back end of the season when the finals get going, look out. I reckon they're a chance to win it.
Well, you love Darcy and you said he's your favourite player and, you know,
Kicked 5 again.
maybe number 1 player going around, but then there's no other player that's doing what Bontempelli does through the middle and pushing forward to the level. So you're factoring in 2 of the best players in the competition in the one team.
It's incredible, isn't it?
And then you got one of the hardest workers, Liberatore. So
But they need a lift. Norton was disappointing, really disappointing. To win by that much and you're playing one of the bottom teams, you need to be doing, and I feel bad saying this, but he just needs a lift. He does, and I think they'll be disappointed. Like, he needs to get to more contests, second, third efforts. I'm just not seeing it consistent enough. The marks comes to ground, you just got to get back onto it quicker, and I think that's what he just needs to focus on. I think obviously take your marks, but get straight back up on the ground and tackle and pressure, and that's how the game will open up for him.
You're listening to the Buddy and Shane Show for AIA Australia, a life health and wellbeing insurer with a commitment to helping Australians lead healthier, longer, better lives. Now, I was talking about the guy who tagged me. It's Jason Blake. I can't believe...
God, you've got a few names, right? You all right, mate?
Well, no, I'm on Endone.
Oh.
I'm all over the place at the moment. So and I know Jason. I see him all the time when I do go down to Melbourne. He's a very nice man.
Yep.
Can't believe I was getting his name wrong. But that happens when you're seeing pink elephants in front of you.
Gavin Brown, wasn't it too?
Gavin Brown, yep. Graham Wright.
Oh, we're in all sorts here.
Thanks. And we're getting no feedback, so it's all coming to me now that I'm starting to get a bit clearer. But anyway, it's now time for...
Buddy's Young Star of the Week for the Kia Tasman. Reserve yours now.
Buddy's Young Star of the Week.
Buddy's Young Star of the Week. Surely it's going to be a key forward.
No, we're moving away from the key forwards for a few weeks. We're going to go with McKercher from the Kangas. What a sensational little player. Number 2 pick, this guy, and he is showing why he was taken that early in the draft. He's been incredible. He probably struggled a little bit early on in the year. He was playing on a wing. The last few weeks, Clarko's put him to a half back. On the weekend, when he nearly had 30 touches and kicked 2 goals from the back line, speaks volume of how good this young kid is. He's been terrific. He really has. And there's no doubt he'll continue to get better as the years go on. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's amazing what confidence does, having a few wins, but also just having the belief in yourself. And when he gets it and runs, but then there's one thing to get the ball and then run with it, but then to have the composure to make the right decisions, hit the targets, you become an extremely dangerous player. So, no, it's good to see the young man from Tassie. Will
Beautiful
he be
left
poached?
foot
Do you reckon he'll be
kick.
poached in a few years?
I'm sure there'll be 4 million, I'm thinking. 4 million.
4 million on the table, of course, very much so.
Okay.
So well done. You are the Young Star of the Week, and that's all thanks to Kia, the Kia Tasman, the most Australian Kia ever developed. Built tough, tested hard and ready for anything, whether you're hauling, towing or taking the road less travelled. The Tasman is made for the job. The Kia Tasman reserved yours now. How am I going? I'm hanging in there. I'm hanging in there.
a bit down today, isn't it?
Yeah, well.
It's a bit flat.
Not every week you break
thinking
bones in
about
your body.
London.
It's
A bit
not
upset.
just upset that I can't sleep very well. Okay, I want to talk about Jeremy McGovern.
Yep.
He retires due to concussion. He's 5-time All-Australian. He's only played 197 games, so every 40-odd games they give him another Australian Guernsey. He's one of the great defenders, helped win the premiership, intercept when they won the flag in 2008. Did you ever play on him?
Played on him a few times. He's awesome. What a player. And yeah, it's very sad that he's had to retire due to concussion, but I think the protocols around that now and the research and the doctors that got involved in terms of concussion, it's something they put a lot of effort into now with the medical side of things, and he's had to retire due to concussion, which is unfortunate. But what a sensational career, Crawf! Like an unbelievable player.
He'd just back himself, wouldn't he? Yep. So, like, obviously playing on someone like you would be a bit scary because you're thinking, do I need to be with you everywhere? But he would still go and win his own footy, and if he felt that he could come off you and mark the ball, that was one of his great traits.
His hands. The biggest thing for me was he never fumbled. It was one take, clean as anything, but then he was a beautiful kick too. So he'd be able to hit 45s from 50 metres and away they'd go. But I think the things that stand out for me with him, obviously the flag, standing up in big moments, especially that grand final, the mark and the beautiful kick to Liam was iconic for Eagles supporters. That was a big part of why they won the premiership, was moments like that, and he stood up for sure.
And he was on to go. He just left him.
Yep.
You know, it's like you could look like a fool. Oh, yeah, especially last couple of minutes of a grand final, to leave a superstar like that and go, I've got to go.
Yep.
I've got to go. And to be able to, it's one thing to go, but then to win the ball and then to be able to transfer it. He'll be legendary, one of the great defenders. So we wish him all the very best. Good on you, Jeremy McGovern. Hopefully he stays involved in footy. I don't know what he's up to away from footy. But anyway, all the very best. You've been listening to the Buddy and Shane Show for AIA Australia, a life, health and wellbeing insurer with a commitment to helping Australians lead healthier, longer, better lives. Bud, have a great week. I'm going back to bed.
Go rest, mate, please. I want more energy next week, please, but it's great to see you, okay?